Another transformation of some interest is taking the absolute value of a function. If y is equal to the absolute value of a function f of x, then according to the definition of absolute value, y is equal to f of x when the function f of x is greater than or equal to 0, and y is going to equal negative f of x when f of x is less than 0. This tells us how to get the graph of y is equal to the absolute value of f of x from the graph of y is equal to f of x. Now, the part of the graph that lies above the x-axis is going to remain the same, whereas the part that lies below the x-axis is reflected about the x-axis. So that last part we want to make sure that we're paying attention to here. So we're saying here that the part that lies below the x-axis is reflected about the x-axis. So let's take a look at this question. It's saying here that the absolute value of a function. Sketch the graph of the function y is equal to x squared minus 1. Now, if we take a look at this graph here, we can see that this represents the standard function of x squared, which is the parabola, and it's minus 1, which means that we shifted it down 1 unit. So that means here we have negative 1, and up here is positive 1. So over here, we're going to put positive 1, and then down here is negative 1. So we know that the part of the graph that lies above the x-axis is going to remain the same. So that means that the right side is going to remain the same, and the left side is going to remain the same. Okay, now going back to what we stated though, if you take a look at what is below, which is this part, okay, we see that the graph lies below the x-axis between the interval negative 1 and 1 and not including negative 1 and 1. So we have to reflect that part of the graph about the x-axis to obtain the graph y is equal to the absolute value of x squared minus 1. So what that means is if we have to reflect it about the x-axis, then that part is now reflected towards here, which now goes through positive 1. And therefore, there is our graph of y is equal to the absolute value of x squared minus 1.